Sheila, how fun it is that we get to do this because Beck Communications so graciously recorded the 50th anniversary of the Medora Musical, and they're going to broadcast that across the state of North Dakota. And I often boast about seeing the show so often, but I know of no one who has seen it more than you. And I think it's right that you would share some of your memories of the show. And in particular, I'm kind of curious if you think that Harold Schafer ever imagined a point where we are at today, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Medora Musical.
Well, first of all, my favorite thing is to talk about Harold in the show, so we're off to a good start. Harold was a big dreamer. I'm sure when he sold that first box of Mr. Bubble, he thought this is going to be a great product. And I think when he started Medora, he thought it was going to be big and didn't realize, I think, until we built the new theater with an escalator and all the new seats, that he thought, well, it's really big now. And so I think it's even going to keep growing. This is going to be huge.
I think you're right. I remember when we opened that new theater and how proud he was. And I think you're right. Yeah. We all think that we're the only dreamers, but Harold was way ahead of us, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He really was. He was so thrilled that every new thing that somebody else thought of, the lighting and the sound and the escalator and the upgrading of the music and everything just kept getting better and better. I'm glad that he lived to see it great.
I remember watching the shows many times with you and Harold in the theater. No one seemed to have more fun with the show than you. And you've continued that even in the 15 years since Harold has been gone. What do you enjoy when you go to the show?
Oh, all the memories. You know, I've got a huge family of like 60 people. I think how wonderful this one event, this one town of Medora, the musical, what a gift Harold had started and given to all of the family. I feel lots of times like Harold's just right there with me every night. Harold Schafer was a smart man, but he didn't know a darn thing about the theater, and he accidentally owned the theater, and kind of a fluke. He had just inherited it because he paid all the bills of the people that had it, and they said, if you'll pay our bills, you can have the theater. And he thought, wow, I own a theater. I think I'll put on a show. And that's about as much as he knew about show business. But he was a smart man, and he knew who to ask. And so he went to Minneapolis, found the man that had produced the ice show there, and the Al Sheehan was his name, and they became friends. And Harold said, I want you to help me put on a musical. And Harold didn't know too much about musicals, but I knew a little bit because I was a theater major at the University of Minnesota for several years. But you know, he was a smart man, and he was right in there and said, I know what I want, and this is what I want. I want a show that you could bring your grandmother and your children to. I want a show that has something for children, a special number. I want a gospel segment in this show. I want horses, and I want flags, and I want a big patriotic ending, and something about Teddy Roosevelt. And if you come to the Medora Musical next summer, or any year since that first year in '65, that's the show you get.